The Iran deal was a horrible and tragic mistake of historical consequences for the United States and Israel. Barack Obama was obsessed with a deal, a legacy deal, doesn't believe the Iranian regime when they say death to America and death to Israel. And he wanted a deal no matter what because he wanted something on his resume that made it look like he contributed to some form of world peace. When in reality, what he's done is empowered the world's most vicious sponsor of state terrorism, a historic enemy of Israel and the United States, who will now on a path to a nuclear weapon. And the only person, not the only person, but the primary person who spoke truth in that moment was Bibi Netanyahu and Israel, who stood up and said, if this happens, you are now threatening the very existence of Israel, because Iran has said what they would do with a nuclear weapon and that capability. And wielding that would change the whole power dynamic in the Middle East, would disempower Israel, disempower the United States, and empower one of the most fanatical Islamist regimes in the region in Iran. So the Iranian deal is something that America still needs to, it was never approved or ratified in our Senate. It's not a deal that most Americans agree with, and it's certainly not something that has to stand. And so we look to someone like Netanyahu, who has been a voice of clarity, and I think there's a lot of us in the United States that believe it should be fundamentally undone, and we shouldn't be funding or doing side deals with a terrorist regime like the one in Tehran. First of all, I would defer Israel's own destiny in that sense, and Jerusalem's destiny, to Israel. So I don't think it's in our interest to condemn the individual moves of a sovereign country like Israel on those issues. I think it all comes back to a investment in an international deal or two-state solution that is proving itself to be less and less viable. And I think what the Jewish state and what Israel chooses to do within Jerusalem, especially with allowing people to buy land or live in where they'd like to, should be its own business, and they should have their ability to do that. And that's why I'm here, is to learn more about. I don't purport to be an expert on all of those issues, so I'm here instead to kind of see what's actually happening, so I can understand how disconnected it might be from what our own State Department says. I think our State Department is also wedded to regulations and certain things that it has to say, many of which are outdated from the reality on the ground here today.